In 2020, while the world focused on the chaos of a global pandemic, something far more silent and far more dangerous unfolded deep in West Africa. A young American man was kidnapped in the dead of night, dragged away by armed men, and smuggled across the border into Nigeria. What followed was one of the boldest, most secretive rescue missions in recent U.S. military history, a mission carried out by elite special forces who parachuted from the sky into hostile territory, all to bring one man home alive. This is the untold full story. Philip Walton was not a tourist, not a diplomat, and not a soldier. He was a 27-year-old farmer, living a quiet, simple life with his wife and young daughter in the village of Masalata, on the Niger Republic side of the border with Nigeria. His family had lived there for years, raising camels, tending goats, and working the land. The village was peaceful, remote, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. But peaceful places are not always safe places. For years, criminal gangs had been operating in the region, kidnapping locals and foreigners for ransom. These groups were not ideological, they weren't terrorists, at least not at first. They were desperate men, armed with cheap rifles and willing to do anything for money. Philip had been warned about them. But he never imagined they would come for him. On October 26, 2020, just before sunrise, 6 armed men approached Philip's home. They were silent, organized, and ready. They broke in and confronted him at gunpoint. Philip tried to remain calm. The kidnappers demanded money, but he didn't have what they wanted. Frustrated, they tied him up, blindfolded him, and began dragging him away. His wife and daughter were left behind, helpless, terrified, and unable to fight back. Within minutes, Philip was forced onto a motorcycle, then transferred to another vehicle. The kidnappers drove him through rough terrain, dodging local patrols, and heading toward a hidden safe house across the border in northern Nigeria. By the time the sun rose, Philip Walton had vanished. When the U.S. Embassy in Niger learned of the kidnapping, alarms rang across Washington. The Pentagon, the CIA, and U.S. Special Operations Command were immediately notified. This wasn't just a crime, this was an international incident. U.S. intelligence agencies began piecing together what happened. Who kidnapped him, what group they belonged to, whether he was being moved, and most importantly, how long he had before things got worse. Intelligence showed the kidnappers were not Boko Haram or ISIS, but if he wasn't rescued soon, they might sell him to one of those groups. That would make a rescue almost impossible. Time was running out. The U.S. used every tool available. Satellite surveillance, local informants, electronic tracking, intercepted communications, cooperation from Nigerian and Nigerian officials. Slowly, a picture formed. Philip was being held in a small compound in northern Nigeria, guarded by multiple men, in a region known for bandits and smugglers. U.S. analysts mapped the hideout, studied escape routes, counted guards, and created 3D models of the area. Every detail mattered. Every second counted. By the third day, commanders delivered their assessment to the White House. The hostage was alive. He was being guarded but not heavily fortified. He would likely be moved or sold within hours. There was only one option. A direct rescue operation. The president approved the mission. It was time to send in the best of the best. Before midnight on October 30th, a group of elite U.S. operators boarded a transport plane. Many of these men belonged to units often linked to SEAL Team 6, the same level of operators who took part in the Bin Laden raid. Their mission: parachute into Nigeria, locate the compound, neutralize the kidnappers, rescue Philip Walton, extract before sunrise. They jumped from a transport plane at a high altitude, gliding silently toward the ground. In total darkness, they hit the dusty terrain of northern Nigeria. Then they began the march, several kilometers through tough terrain, guided only by night vision goggles, infrared beacons, and precise intelligence. They moved like shadows. No one saw them coming. When the team reached the compound, they split into 2 groups. One team to engage the guards, another to locate the hostage. The assault began instantly. Within seconds, gunfire erupted. The kidnappers were caught off guard and overwhelmed. The U.S. operators moved with surgical precision, clearing rooms, securing the perimeter, and neutralizing threats. Inside one small room, tied up and terrified, Philip Walton heard the chaos outside. Then he heard footsteps. Then a voice. "Philip, we're U.S. military. We're here to take you home." Those were the words he had been praying to hear. Philip was quickly untied, protected, and escorted to the extraction point. Minutes later, a U.S. aircraft arrived and evacuated him safely. By sunrise, news broke across the world. The hostage was safe. The mission was a success. No U.S. troops were harmed. U.S. officials celebrated the operation as proof that Americans would never be abandoned, no matter where they were taken, no matter who took them. In Nigeria and Niger, the story spread rapidly. Villagers spoke about the night the sky opened, and foreign soldiers descended like spirits to rescue one man. Today, Philip Walton lives quietly, far from the spotlight. But his rescue remains a powerful message. Even in the darkest corners of the world, there are people willing to risk everything for one life. This mission was not just a military success, it was a reminder of loyalty, courage, and the lengths special forces will go to bring someone home.